There is a strange habit that quietly steals years from people's lives. It doesn't look dangerous. It doesn't feel destructive. In fact, it often feels like ambition. It sounds like, once I achieve this, then I'll be happy. What? Once I make more money, then I'll relax. What? Once I find the right person, then life will feel complete. What? Once things settle down, I'll finally enjoy myself. What? The words change. The situation changes. But the pattern remains. Always waiting for something ahead. Always believing that the next chapter will finally be the one where life begins. And without realizing it, you start treating your current life like a waiting room. A temporary place you must survive before the real experience begins. But what if the life you keep waiting for is not hidden in the future? What if the chapter you keep rushing through is the chapter you will one day wish you could return to? Human beings are fascinating. We spend childhood wanting to grow up. Then we spend adulthood wanting things to slow down. We rush toward the future, then look back wondering why we rushed. A child wants tomorrow to arrive faster. An adult wants yesterday to come back. Somewhere between those 2 points, we forget how to simply be where we are. We become experts at arriving everywhere except the present moment. Eating breakfast while thinking about work. Working while thinking about the weekend. Relaxing while thinking about what needs to be done next. Even during moments we supposedly enjoy, part of our mind is somewhere else. Always preparing. Always anticipating. Always waiting. And the cost of constantly waiting is something most people never calculate. Because time doesn't disappear all at once. It disappears quietly. A morning here, an evening there, a conversation you weren't fully part of, a sunset you didn't notice, a laugh you barely heard because your mind was somewhere else. Then one day you look back and realize years passed while you were waiting for life to begin. The future is a powerful place. It can inspire us. It can give us direction. It can help us imagine possibilities. But there is a danger. The future is always unfinished. It is always promising something. A better moment. A better situation. A better version of life. And because it is unfinished, it can become an endless escape. There will always be something else to achieve, something else to fix, something else to reach. If you aren't careful, you can spend your entire life climbing toward a destination you never stop to enjoy. Imagine climbing a mountain. You tell yourself, "I'll enjoy the view when I reach the top." What? You continue upward. Then you reach another level. But another peak appears. So you keep going. Higher. Further. Faster. Eventually you reach the end of the journey and realize you spent the entire climb looking only at where you weren't. You missed the landscape, the air, the people beside you, the moments that made the journey meaningful. Life is not only the destination. It is everything that happens while you are moving toward it. One of the biggest illusions people believe is that happiness exists after a certain point. After success, after recognition, after achievement. But look carefully at people who reach the things they once wanted. They often discover something surprising. The achievement was real. The excitement was real. But the feeling didn't last forever. Because humans adapt. The thing that once seemed extraordinary eventually becomes normal. The new house becomes the house with maintenance problems. The new job becomes the daily routine. The new achievement becomes the new expectation. This isn't a flaw. It's simply how humans experience life. We are designed to adjust, which means if your entire happiness depends on reaching the next thing, you will always need another next thing. The finish line keeps moving. The future keeps calling. And the present keeps being ignored. But the present is the only place where life actually happens. Not tomorrow, not someday, but now. It doesn't. You can have goals without abandoning today. You can build something meaningful without hating the process. You can want change without rejecting your current life. The problem is not wanting more. The problem is believing that more is the only place where meaning exists. Sometimes people don't appreciate their current chapter because they are comparing it to a future they invented. They imagine a perfect version of life. A version where everything is solved. No problems. No uncertainty. No difficulty. But that life doesn't exist. Every chapter has something. The beginning has uncertainty. The middle has challenges. The end has change. Waiting for a perfect chapter means waiting for a book that was never written. There is another reason people constantly look ahead. The future feels easier to control than the present. We can imagine anything. We can create perfect scenarios. We can design outcomes. But reality is more complicated. Reality contains unexpected conversations, unexpected problems, unexpected emotions. So the mind escapes into imagination, because imagination has no resistance. But a life lived only in imagination is a life never fully experienced. Think about the last time you looked through old photos. A picture from years ago. A place you forgot about. A person you haven't spoken to in a long time. Often something strange happens. You realize you didn't know that ordinary afternoon would become a memory. You didn't know that simple conversation would become something you missed. You didn't know that period of your life would one day feel precious. This happens because we rarely recognize important moments while they're happening. We only recognize them afterward. The challenge is learning to appreciate what is still here before it becomes something we miss. The people around you. The places you see every day. The routines you currently have. The opportunities available right now. One day, these things will only exist in memory. And you may wish you had paid more attention. There is a question worth asking. If I knew today would become a memory, how would I experience it differently? Would you rush through it? Would you ignore the people around you? Or would you notice more? Listen more? Appreciate more? The interesting thing is, nothing about the day changes. Only your awareness changes. Sometimes the greatest improvements in life don't come from changing your circumstances. They come from changing your relationship with your circumstances. A person can have everything they once wanted and still feel empty if they are never actually present enough to experience it. Another person can have an ordinary life and find incredible meaning because they are fully connected to it. The difference is not always what someone has. Sometimes it is what they notice. The world is constantly teaching us to chase more, faster, bigger, newer. But rarely does anyone teach us how to stay, how to appreciate, how to recognize that this moment is not a placeholder. It is your real life. Right now, the conversation you are having, the room you are sitting in, the people who care about you, the challenges you are facing, the season you are currently experiencing. This is the chapter, not the one coming later. This one. There will always be another goal, another milestone, another version of tomorrow. But if you cannot find meaning in today's chapter, you may arrive at tomorrow and discover the same emptiness followed you there. Because the problem was never the chapter. It was the constant belief that the next one would finally be enough. The secret many people discover too late is that life is not waiting to become meaningful. It already is. The ordinary moments you overlook are the moments you are given. The days you think are unimportant are the days that eventually become your memories. The people you assume will always be there may not always be there. The opportunities you think will come again may not. Life does not ask you to stop growing. It asks you to stop abandoning where you are. Build, create, improve, dream, but don't forget to arrive. Don't spend your entire life mentally living somewhere else. Because someday, the future you are waiting for will become today. And if you spend today waiting for tomorrow, you will have spent your entire life waiting. The greatest tragedy is not that life ends. It is that some people finally realize how beautiful it was, only after they stopped having the chance to fully experience it. So take a moment. Look around. Notice what is here. The people, the sounds, the small details, the things you usually overlook. Because this chapter will never happen again. This exact moment, this exact version of you, this exact day, it is already passing. And maybe the life you have been waiting for was never somewhere ahead. Maybe it was quietly happening while you were looking away.